Hello, it's the Brian Hornback Experience, episode 181. 181. It's actually the day before Easter, 2025. So it won't be on here very long. Getting ready to head to Saturday night church for the Easter service. So I hope that you and yours find your place in your place of worship over the weekend. By the way, thanks to Gasoline and Vertebrate for that move to Knoxville tune as our opener and hopefully closer if I remember. But a lot of things have been going on in the last couple of weeks since episode 180. What did we talk about on episode 180? 180, what did we talk about? Let's turn the volume off for sure. We talked about the biennial reorganization of the Knox County Republican parties and all of that good stuff. So that was March 29th, and wow, here we are on April the 19th. So it's been a while. It's been about 3 weeks. A lot of things have been going on in the last 3 weeks. The Tennessee Republican Party State Executive Committee met last weekend. I traveled over to Mount Juliet for that meeting. That was our spring meeting. And a lot of things happened in that meeting that have already appeared on brianhornback.com and have appeared on the State Executive Committee Facebook page that I host, which is Brian Hornback, Tennessee Republican State Executive Committee Man, District 6. So check that out if you're not already checking that out. A lot of things happened. There was a bill. The legislature will end its session. They will end their session this week. I think they were really trying to get to try to end it by the end of before Easter, but it didn't happen. They did pass the budget, and so the budget's passed. So now all they got to do is just finish up some final bills. The thing that is most interesting that I'd like to hear from Republicans about is, and it's not really much of an issue in Knoxville, but let's talk about it for a few minutes. And that is the legislature, both the House and the Senate, overwhelmingly passed a bill that will require counties to now have primaries for all their positions. Now, if somebody were to die in office and you got to fill a vacancy, then you could still caucus. Any of these smaller counties that have had caucuses for the last 2 election cycles, so here we are in 24, so if they had we're in 25. So if they had a caucus in 24 or in 22, they can still continue to caucus if they wish, is what we were told. And so those exceptions are in there. If there's a vacancy due to death, and the Republicans and the Democrats need to put up a candidate to fill that position, then they can still have a caucus to choose that candidate. But if there's time for a primary election, it's required that there be primaries. And so that bill passed, and then as they were finishing up the budget or doing some budget modifications last week, they put in $8 million to pay for those primaries. In some of these smaller counties, it would be more costly to do a primary election, so that's why they threw $8 million in the budget. $8 million of non-reoccurring. Okay, so what that means is it's $8 million, and then once that money's spent, they'll have to come back to the legislature for more money to pay for those primaries if this continues to go through the process. The State Executive Committee is not happy about it, passed a resolution opposing it, and passed that on the Saturday before they then ultimately passed it, I think, on Monday. Matter of fact, I know they passed on Monday. And so there'll be some continued discussion between the legislature and the State Executive Committee. There's a lawsuit going through Virginia right now pertaining to the same issues. So I really anticipate reaching out to folks here in Knox County. Again, in Knox County, we don't really caucus very often. We don't caucus to fill a position like that. I can recall that we did it when when Congressman Duncan, our former Congressman Jimmy Duncan, when his father passed away and he went to Congress, we had a Knox County caucus to select the candidate that would be the criminal court judge, because Congressman Duncan, Jimmy Duncan, was our criminal court judge. And when he went to fill his father's seat in Congress, then we had to get a candidate to be the Republican nominee for criminal court judge. And that caucus was held at Bearden Middle School, and Randy Reagan was our candidate coming out of that caucus. We've had some other district caucuses in the past when commissioners have died, and we had to fill up a seat. I remember that happening in 92 when Joe McMillan passed away, county commissioner, and we had a caucus at Carter High School for Mike McMillan to become the candidate. See, who did he? I guess it was Jean Underwood, a realtor up there. She had challenged him in that caucus, and Mike won in the caucus. So anyway, those are two caucuses that I can recall. I remember a more recent caucus up at Gibbs High School. I believe it's when we chose Dave Wright to take Bud Armstrong's spot, maybe. I remember choosing someone at Gibbs High School for county commission. I believe it was Dave Wright, to take Bud Armstrong's position on county commission. But anyway, those are three caucuses from about 1990 until current that I can remember we doing. And actually, Randy Reagan was probably before 1990. That would have been in about 86 or 87. Anyway, I've been doing this for a while, since about 1982 when I was 16 years old. And yeah, if you can do the math, that's a good 42 years. So I'm 58, be 59 this year. Anyway, so that's kind of what's going on with the State Executive Committee. We will continue to refine the reorganizations. We feel like that from what happened 2 years ago to what happened this year was a vast improvement. Statewide, there's still at least one tweak that I want to make, and it has to do with data integrity. When you register for a reorganization, you shouldn't have to worry that your information is in the hands of individuals other than those who are party leadership. And unfortunately, in at least two instances in East Tennessee, I know that information has been breached, and it's in a number of hands. Okay, so that needs to be dealt with in the bylaws committee. We'll also be dealing with how we select delegates for the presidential elections. Okay, so that's coming up, and because we'll be selecting candidates. By the way, that's to seal envelopes. If you're wondering, what did he just have in his hand? It's an envelope moisture, so that way you don't have to worry about licking envelopes. Anyway, don't want my DNA on envelopes. Yeah, so that's going to be coming up. I don't anticipate that we'll be doing it the way we've done it in the past. You know, if you got 25 signatures on a petition and you put your name on the ballot, and you know that's how we chose individuals to go to the presidential conventions for about the last 40 years. I don't anticipate that's going to happen in the future. So I serve on the bylaws committee, so we've got to come up with a more appropriate form of selecting individuals to be our nominees to the national convention. So we need to go ahead and get that going in place, so that in about 2.5, 3 years, when people are picking up petitions, they'll know that they're not going to be picking up petitions anymore, and whatever that process is going to be for selecting delegates to go to the national convention. With that being said, I think that kind of sums up most of what we did at the SEC meeting in the spring. So anticipate hearing from me about some ideas. If you're not in Knox County and you have ideas about the caucuses, I'm welcome to hear them. You can email me at brian@brianhornback.com, brian@brianhornback.com. Would love to know if you have thoughts on that. I think for the most part, the whole issue of bona fide and participating in the reorganizations has gone really well. People were upset if they hadn't voted in 3 out of 4 and they weren't able to participate, and I understand that. All we ask is that you be at least a 75% Republican voter to participate in the reorganizations. I don't think that's too much to ask. 75% is pretty much a C, right? So what we ask is that you participate in 3 out of the last 4 Republican primaries in order to help select our party leadership. I think for the most part, we had 5 counties. That was the other thing we dealt with at the spring meeting of the State Executive Committee. We had 5 counties that really challenged their reorganizations. Williamson County had over 1,500 that showed up at their convention. We after we heard what one of our other subcommittees, political, is the one that hears those complaints, and so they went through and they vetted them. They heard the complaints. They heard from both sides, and so for those, the State Executive Committee went ahead and upheld the reorganizations. There was one that was pretty close. Marshall County, in my opinion, and my vote reflected that reorg should have been redone. But a majority said that to go ahead and uphold it and go on. My major factor in that one was the races were really close. There were votes cast in one election that when the ballot box was cleaned out, it still came back the next time with a vote from a previous race. That's interesting. But my main thing in all of that was that the 2 SEC members were the only officials from the Tennessee Republican Party there, and they both witnessed it, they lived it, and they felt like it needed to be redone. And so I will support the SEC members that are there and on the ground when the reorg happened. And if they felt like it needed to be redone, then I felt like it needed to be redone. But majority of the SEC present at the meeting last Saturday felt like it was good. And so we upheld it, and we'll see how that shakes out in Marshall County. So anyway, with that being said, continue to check out brianhornback.com. Have a good rest of your Easter weekend. And remember that the reason for Easter is because God became Christ, and Christ lived on earth for 33 years, and he went to the cross to die for your sins. So I respect everybody's religion, and hope you respect mine.